Alright, welcome to Portraits by Melody here on the Nathan's Art channel. So what you're seeing here is a little bit different than usual. This is just a time lapse generated by the app of all the little marks I made making this portrait. I still plan on showing you guys some of how I interact with the app a little bit later, but I thought that this would be a fun way to let you guys see just how small the changes are that kind of come together to make the portrait at the end. I'm using the Adobe Fresco app, an iPad Pro, and the Apple Pencil, and I today have invited my husband Ben to be a part of this little discussion with me. He is also a member or contributor to this channel, but right now he's in grad school, so he's pretty busy, so I've just been mostly being the one uploading things to our channel, but I invited him here today to discuss a little bit about what he thought while I was making this, because he had some good feedback for me and some good critiques, I guess. So I invited him on to share what he had said with me. Do you want to say hi?
Hello, I'm Ben.
Are you excited to be here?
I'm very excited to be here, especially because I just mentioned like several things in passing when I would come home and you'd be like, look at what I was working on, and then I made some comment. And then I don't remember those things, and you just were like, hey, I'm making this video, or I need you to come say all those things you told me earlier to the video, and I don't really remember them, so we'll see how that goes. But yes, I'm excited to be here.
Well, I'm excited to have you, I guess. I thought that what you had told me was good. Why are you laughing?
You guess.
All right. So one of the things I posted on Instagram earlier last week was just the side of my brother. So this is my brother and his wife, and just him I posted onto Instagram so people could see it a little bit early. And one of the people commented on it, and they said, this is the perfect example of trust the process. And I actually really appreciated that comment, because right at the beginning of this whole drawing, it just looked really bad. I was even laughing at myself thinking, wow, this just looked really bad. And so when she made that comment, I just thought, wow, I'm glad somebody else noticed. Like, it does eventually come together, but it does start out looking pretty rough. You had something to say about that too when you saw it on Instagram, huh?
Yeah, I mean, because you had like just a quick version of the time lapse of just your brother's face as posted as what are they called, reels on Instagram?
Yeah.
As a reel. And then I saw that comment. I think that was like the most popular comment on there. That was like, this is a perfect example of trust the process, which people say a lot with regards to making art. And so that just made me think like, yeah, because you could see in that section that you decided to use as your time lapse, like I think you restarted like 2 or 3 or 4 times on just his face, moving things around and just like drawing back on top of stuff instead of starting like erasing it and starting completely over, because some of the things that you had done before were informing the next stuff that would go down. But yeah, I mean, I guess I just thought that video was more indicative or true to your process of drawing, versus sometimes what we see with some of the other time lapses where some of that stuff's cut out because like for the sake of time and stuff. So just seeing all of those mess ups, like false starts and restarts, I felt like that was a little bit more true to what the process is like. And I also thought that was a neat little addition to have there, because so much about social media and like all of these apps and platforms that we use to share stuff like this is really curated and super polished and refined to make it look like you are perfect and that you're really good at what you're doing, and you are really good at what you're doing, but it's not like you don't mess up and you don't have to restart several times before you get on the right track. So I just thought that it was very real, which was nice.
Yeah, I really like to include all of the mess ups because it makes it feel like they have an opportunity to enjoy the art like I did, like seeing all of the mess ups and mistakes and side roads, and I don't know. It just is cool to let them have that experience too. So this portrait is, like I said, of my brother and his wife. And when they first sent it to me, I had been kind of nagging at them because I drew everybody else. So I was like, it's your turn. And with some time, they eventually sent me this picture because they had just gone on a vacation and they were excited about their trip. And so when they sent it to me, I just thought like, oh yeah, this was a fun trip. This was exciting for them. This is a special memory. And I could not figure out what that huge thing was right in between them, but I was like, okay, it's part of their vacation. It must be like cotton candy or shaved ice or something. And I think eventually I did decide to make it look like shaved ice, so I hope that's what it was. Ben and I have kind of debated about what it was because neither one of us could really tell, other than it's huge.
I guess it could be ice cream or something too.
Yeah. But as like just a person that they sent this to, I just was like, oh, cute picture. Like, I'm excited to draw it for you. But Ben walked in and he had a little bit different perspective than I did when he saw this picture.
Yeah, well, and for people that don't know, Mel mentioned that I'm in grad school right now, and I'm in grad school for printmaking, which is art. It's a specific medium in art making, and so like every day, I'm talking with other people or looking at my own work and talking about and thinking about compositions and how things work together and how to present an image in a really clear way that's not confusing. And this composition, which that they sent to you from their vacation photos, is kind of not that, in that it has this giant, I think it's ice cream now that I'm thinking about it, but this giant piece of ice cream in the like bottom third of the composition, and it kind of takes up a good amount of real estate in the picture plane or the image itself. And that is such a, I just thought that, that's so influenced and inspired by us all having smartphones and taking selfies, because before people were taking selfies all the time, this kind of photo I think would have been thrown out because there's like this out of focus thing in the foreground taking up a lot of space. Where now, because we're used to seeing this type of composition in like selfie form, we like just didn't even think about it until we had this thing in front of us for a long time, and they're like, oh, that's kind of weird actually.
Yeah, I had to spend like 20 hours with it and talk to you before I finally realized like, wow, that's kind of weird. But it was good. I think I ended up kind of getting a likeness of them both, but drawing her was actually really challenging for me. I had a hard time getting her nose and her mouth and her eyes to feel like they were her. But I did feel like the drawing my brother was a little bit more smooth sailing. I feel like it looks like him even though I didn't get the angle exactly right. And even he was like, wow, I look good, which made me feel good. It's always nice to hear that they appreciate or feel like it looks like them. Do you have any other final thoughts of
I mean,
what you thought while you were seeing this come together?
I think we're always a little bit more harsh on ourselves as artists than maybe other people would be. But so I think the one thing that you always do well without fail is finishing with a finished product that has a good likeness of the people in it. So I think it's a great likeness on both counts of both of them. And then I also am, what I think that you're doing well is starting to, in this and other works, is starting to incorporate a little bit more compositionally. So like this one has a big ice cream pile in the foreground, and in other ones you're kind of working on adding things to the background to give us narrative elements. And I think that that's really successful, or starting to get really successful.
Yeah, I feel like I've been a lot more excited about making things that tell stories lately, so that has been exciting. Well, it looks like we're almost finished here, so I want to show you guys a close-up of how it turned out. I sent it to them as a print, as a fine art print on some nice paper with archival ink, so it should last a good long time. Hopefully
Forever.
They said that they like it, so I think that's a good sign, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you guys for checking in on what we've been up to and what I've been making. We'll see you guys next time. Want to say bye?
Mm-mm.
No, why?
I don't have an official sign out yet, so I can't.
Okay, we'll just say bye.
Ciao.
That's it.
Bye.